Today on This Week in Real Estate, Zillow hits the ejector button, the most expensive flex ever in California history, and some boring stats. Well, hey everyone, welcome to This Week in Real Estate. A lot of big things happening in the world of real estate, so let's jump straight into it. Starting with the big bombshell news that Zillow has shut down its iBuyer program. Now, what is an iBuyer program? So Zillow traditionally has been in the consumer search business. They've also sold leads to real estate agents who, as a consumer searching on their site, they click I need an agent. It connects to a real estate agent who is paid for that right to have that connection. But over the last few years, Zillow has decided to dabble or get into the actual real estate transaction side of the business. And their strategy was to be an iBuyer, where they essentially buy up homes. They offer homeowners, sellers, a cash offer to that home. So if someone's searching on Zillow and looking at their own house saying, I want to sell my house, go straight to Zillow. They make them an offer. 7 days later, home's sold. Zillow now owns that home and they are going to flip that house. So essentially they're doing flipping business. So maybe they'll fix it up a little bit, put it back on the market, make a profit. So that's the iBuyer program. But where did it go wrong for Zillow? Here's what went wrong for Zillow. They started buying houses over value, and they were basing it off of their Zestimate, their algorithm, which is notoriously incorrect and inaccurate all the time. And they were using that algorithm, essentially a computer, to analyze homes and buy homes, and they were paying well over value in some cases, in most cases overvalued. So no wonder these sellers were saying, yes, I'll take that offer. Home's worth $800,000. Zillow comes in and offers them $900,000 cash right now. Yes. So Zillow started acquiring all of these homes, and they were overpriced. So when they went to go resell them, they were losing money on them. So they tried to hold them a little bit longer and wait for the market to improve. But then there's holding costs, which they did not take into consideration. There is insurance they've got to pay. There's taxes, property taxes, utilities, just to keep things running, just to keep the house in shape. All these holding costs that they did not take into consideration. And eventually they just had all this inventory that they were like, oh crap, what are we gonna do with this? So they overpaid the closing costs and too much inventory. So what they have now, they've closed their iBuyer program and they've got over 7,000 homes that they still need to sell. That's 7,000 homes just sitting empty that they need to get off their books. That's $2.8 billion worth of real estate, which in most cases they overpaid for. So if they were to sell all 7,000 homes, it's projected that they're going to take a $500 million hit on it. They're going to lose $500 million on this iBuyer program. I laugh, you heard my laugh there, because in real estate, Zillow is kind of like the enemy. They're like the big bad wolf who's come to disrupt the industry, and they tried to do it this way and they failed. That's the funny part. The not so funny part about it is that 25% of Zillow's workforce is going to get laid off. And that is just a tragedy. I feel for those people who joined Zillow thinking that they're going to be part of this awesome, disruptive program, iBuyer program, and it falls flat. So my heart does go out for those people that lost their jobs. And the other crappy side to this is there's 7,000 homes sitting empty, and there's an inventory shortage. There's people who want to buy those homes. So Zillow has come in and have bought up all this inventory when we're already in a shortage, and that is not helping. A company like Zillow, who's in the real estate world and wants to, is consumer friendly, wants to make real estate better, they have done the exact opposite. And here's the kicker. What I'm hearing is that they are looking to big investment groups, real estate investment groups, to buy up their inventory. So these are groups, these are firms that have 100 doors in one neighborhood. So Zillow's got 10 houses in this one little neighborhood. They're going, instead of putting them on the market, hiring a realtor, going straight to the consumer, they're selling to these big investment groups who are going to turn them into rentals. And rentals aren't bad. Those investment groups aren't that bad, but that stuff needs to be moderated. And if Zillow's going to them first, all this inventory that should have been going to a mix of investors and consumers is going straight to investors. And you've got all these buyers out there, qualified buyers, consumers who want a home, need a home, who are struggling with low inventory, and Zillow has just made it worse. So that's the problem. Now, what does this mean for you and your market? So I'm talking to most of my demographic is California. I work Silicon Valley and Orange County. It's not going to affect us much. It really isn't. There's two reasons. One, Zillow does not have a big market share in California. Where they were doing this was in lower price points in the country. So Zillow has maybe a handful of homes in California, not much. And also, this is not an indicator of where the market is going. This is not a crash. This is not a sign of the end of the market's going to go down. This is a failed venture of a big corporation and a big miserable fail. And it's public because of how it went down. So it's not going to mean much in California. It's not going to mean much on the market in general. It's really just very unfortunate, and it doesn't help that inventory shortage. So what can we learn from this? There's two things that we can learn from this. One is that iBuyer programs cannot be trusted, and they do not work in the real estate world. Zillow are not the only ones. There's other programs out there, Open Door, HomeLight, who do iBuyer programs. Some are better than others. I've worked with some of them, and they're actually not too bad, but they're trying to disrupt the real estate industry, and it's not necessary. And the way they're going about it is not necessary. They're not helping in the long run. So iBuyer programs, if you are a seller, a homeowner, you want to sell your house, go the tried and true route of hiring a real estate agent. Do your due diligence, speak to a few people, interview people. I'm not just saying pick anyone at random and just blind trust. Do your due diligence. But the iBuyer route, if they come knocking on your door, run the other way. The second thing we can learn is that we cannot trust Zillow's Zestimates. I'm not sure if you've searched on Zillow on their site, you look and they give a Zestimate what they think the home is worth. For years and years, people in my industry, myself, have been saying, do not trust the Zestimates. They're not accurate. It's based off an algorithm. Valuing a home is not as objective as it may seem. There's a ton of subjective things that go into valuing a home, and there's things about simply just seeing a house in person to be able to value a home, adjustments for amenities and condition of the home, market temperature. Pending data is the most accurate data. Their algorithm is using sold data, which is 30 days or more old. And what happened here with their iBuyer program, they used their estimates, and that's why they overpaid for so many homes, because their algorithm was wrong. And they proved what we've been saying all along, that Zestimates cannot be trusted. Now, Zillow is still a solid company in the sense that they have a great search portal. There's some others out there that are better, in my opinion, but it's still a consumer-friendly portal, and they should just stick to their lane and feel free to still use their portal to search and look for homes. But if you need to buy or sell a home, talk to a real live agent who can give you a very up-to-date valuation on a home. Another point on the Zestimate is if you need to know what the value of your home, talk to a real estate agent that works in your neighborhood that can come and give you a comprehensive market analysis based on real data and a real analysis based off of a human brain rather than a computer brain. Computers are great, in this case, not so much. So still free to use Zillow, but it needs to be in tandem with using a real estate professional for you to have real success. It'd be interesting to see what happens to Zillow with this, where they go, firing or laying off 25% of workforce, shutting down a big program. They're resilient, they'll still be around, but it'd be interesting to see how they pivot and where they go in the future. But again, this does not affect the real estate market on the whole. It's just a very, very interesting story. Next, let's talk about the most expensive home sale in Californian history. Last week, fashion executive Sergey Azria, I think that's right, sold his Malibu home to venture capitalist Mark Andreessen for a whopping $177 million. Insane. Crazy amount of money. I don't know how people have that type of money. Anyway, the oceanfront home was in Paradise Cove neighborhood of Malibu, spread across 2 lots for about 7 acres. The main house on the property is approximately 10,000 square feet. It has amenities such as a cinema and spa and 2 guest houses. So at least he got a good amount for his money, but probably not the right value. This surpasses the most recent record sale in California, which happened last year in 2020, which was Jeff Bezos. Not sure if you've heard of him, but he spent $165 million on a Beverly Hills home. So Anderson paid $12 million over Jeff Bezos. I think that's a massive flex from Anderson. And here's the kicker. The home was bought by the seller Azria in 2013 for just $41 million. So they made $136 million profit in just 8 years. That's insane. Pretty confident Anderson is overpaid here, but when you have that type of money, it probably doesn't matter. Side note here too, the real estate agent working the deal represented both sides. So let's assume the standard 5% commission. That's pretty standard in that industry. He was paid almost $9 million for that deal. Man, I need to go sell in Malibu. And lastly, let's bring it back down to earth for us normal people and talk about the market stats for Santa Clara County for today. I'm in Santa Clara right now. I'm in my Los Gatos office. So let's talk about the stats for Santa Clara County. In October, there was 1,576 homes sold in Santa Clara County. There were 1,098 single-family homes and 478 condo townhouses. Average single-family home sales price was $2 million, and the median was $1.625 million. That's been increasing over the last few years. I remember, last year I think that median was closer to like the 1.4-ish. So that's increased year over year quite a lot. This time of year does influence that since inventory is low, competition is very high. Average price per square foot is about $1,048, and average days on market is 14 days. So homes are selling within 2 weeks for very good prices. Condos, average sales price for condos is about $1 million. Median is $925. Average price per square foot $742, and average days on market for condos and townhouses is 21. So it's taking a little bit longer for condos and townhouses to sell, but they eventually do, and they're selling still for healthy prices. One thing I'm seeing is they're not selling necessarily over asking price, or at least not a lot. Condos and townhouses, single family homes are still going over asking price. I'll share a story in a minute about that. Currently, there are 1,054 active homes and 1,625 pending. This data, when you analyze it, do a formula, it means we've got 1.5 months of inventory, which essentially means that if no new homes were to hit the market, in 1.5 months, so in 6 weeks, we'd have 0 houses on the market. So homes are selling very, very fast, and things are really tight right now. So the usual demand outweighing supply is definitely there, but it's heightened right now because supply is trending down as we go into the holidays where less people sell. So there's fewer options for buyers, and there's a number of buyers out there who need to buy, which puts some desperation into the market, which isn't necessarily healthy, but that is what it is. And the story is, I just had some clients just yesterday lose out on a property. They were willing to pay $400,000 over asking price, and ended up going over $800,000 over asking price. Crazy. It's not 177 million crazy, but 800 over asking price. It was underlisted to start. I say it went about 300 over market value of what the data could support. So there's a $300,000 delta there that they got to be willing to make up if the appraisal comes short. My guess, can only speculate on the buyer situation. My guess is that they needed a home. I said, this one's great, let's just lock it up. I don't care if I overpay, which to each their own. I don't think it's wise, but to each their own, and some certain circumstances can warrant that. The market will probably catch up to it at some point, but that's a lot for catching up to do. And that concludes this week in real estate. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you tuning in. I hope this was insightful for you. If you have any questions about real estate, always here to help. Happy to help you buy, sell, invest, or just give you some insight, answer your questions. Always happy to do so. See you next time.